Pitching is the name of the game. Luis Castillo delivers an ace-like performance, and the Seattle Mariners take game one of the three-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners defeat the Blue Jays tonight 2-1. They improved to 49-41 on the season, and they maintain a two-game lead in the American League West. Listen, anytime we can end one of these streams or videos and I can say the Mariners are leading the AL West, it's not the worst thing in the world. We're 90 games in. This was game 90, and the Mariners maintain the lead in the West. We know it's not going to be easy. We know it's going to be a dogfight with Houston here, but the Mariners do keep their lead in this division. Before I go any further, do me a favor. As always, smash that like button. Thank you again to all the new subscribers. I'm inching closer to 4,000. I appreciate all the support, all the subs, and all the kind words. So many people tell me how much they appreciate I do these every night. I really love doing it. I love interacting with you guys, love seeing the comments. Even if it's venting things, I get it. I absolutely get it when you guys get frustrated with this team. I get the same way. But all the positive feedback really does mean a lot, and I truly do love doing it. The wins are fun to talk to because, hey, it's awesome. It's great when the team wins. And the losses, I always say, are kind of therapeutic to talk about in these. So thank you again. And then comment, as always, comment your thoughts on the game down below. Dominant performance from Luis Castillo. That was an ace performance from the guy that I really do think is still the ace of the staff. I've said it before, but, game one of a series, playoff series, I'm, assuming you've got everybody available, I'm still going to Luis Castillo for game one. That's not a knock on Gilbert and Kirby. This pitching staff has a ton of depth. You could go to any one. I wouldn't throw a huge fit about it. Truthfully, I think if Brian Wu is dialed in and Bryce Miller's dialed in, they're fine too. But Castillo's still the guy for me. He's still kind of he's the veteran of the pitching staff and just kind of the table setter for it. And a truly, truly dominant 6 2/3 today. Flirted with a no-hitter a little bit. It's funny when no-hitters and perfect games nowadays, they still mean a lot, but I don't really pay attention to it. When did he give up the home run to Kiermaier? I think in the 6th inning. Let me pull it up here. Again, sorry guys. Let me pull it up. It was in the 6th. And I knew he hadn't given up a hit through 5 1/3, but it just doesn't have the same. Pitchers just don't go as deep into games. Even with that, even if he kept the no-hitter, he wasn't going to go 9 innings. He was at 105, 6 pitches through 6 2/3. So I really just don't get into the no-hitter perfect game. Maybe if a pitcher's out like 65 pitches or something in that spot, I'm a little bit more thinking about it. But for the most part, those things it's just a thing of the past. The game has changed. You can like it, dislike it. I don't really care. I just want the Mariners to win, and I don't care if that's playing 1910s baseball or 2020s. Just find a way. But truly dominant performance for Castillo. Once again, I do want to apologize. I know you guys said it was all good yesterday, but the sound, I'm house sitting right now. Also, cats here. Fun fact about Jay, I am allergic to cats, so if my eyes look a little red and stuff like that, the cats are getting to me, so the Benadryl hopefully will kick in here very quickly. So again, apologize about that, but I'll be back in my dwellings probably for the Monday night. Well, there will be no game Monday, so Tuesday. But yeah, a outstanding performance, Castillo, and the bullpen just lights out. I've said for months that this team needs to add a reliever, and I still listen. I'm excited to get Santos back. He's on his rehab assignment. I think he's in Everett tomorrow, so I'm super excited to have him back. But bullpen depth to me is like defensive line depth in football. You can't have enough of it, no matter what. You need it. So there's nothing wrong with adding guys, but these guys have really helped stabilize the bullpen. Austin Voth, who's kind of moved into that Matt Brash role. He's taking those one-out outings and getting out of the big, tight spots, and then they turned over to Stanek and Munoz, who have both been outstanding. And Stanek at the beginning of the year, I talked about he was getting results, but I didn't think he looked that great. I didn't think he was bad. I just thought Stanek was more a middle reliever. Well, he's kind of, instead of the results matching how he's looked has started to match the results because he looks dominant. Like I'm at a point now where I honestly, in sometimes here last couple of weeks, Munoz hasn't looked quite as sharp. Great night then got done. Not a knock on Munoz, but in some cases, Stanek's almost looked a little bit better in certain cases. So, the pitching lab does it again, and Ryan Stanek has been outstanding. Then Munoz, of course, locks it down in the 9th inning. So the bullpen gets it done. The offense, better. I know that sounds crazy. They scored 2 runs, and it was truthfully after a play where we thought Julio was out. They challenged that play. A great challenge by the Mariners. Credit to Scott, or probably not Scott, but whoever saw it upstairs to make that challenge that Julio was safe. And then Luke Raley with the 2-run double. Kind of a weird game for the offense because they probably should have scored a couple more runs. Dalton Varsho makes a ridiculously good catch, robbing Raley in the first inning of what would have been a 2-run double. Listen, and that's part of what the Jays can do to beat you. They can play defense. Kiermaier is one of the best. Varsho's an outstanding defender. So while it's unfortunate, it's part of how the Jays can win games. They can play some defense out there. So, but still, Raley was robbed, and even the wind, I guess, was blowing in. They were saying normal conditions that actually would have gotten out of the ballpark. Julio had no, because that ended up being a hit. But I thought, well, no, they scored. Geesh, I'm all over the place. I was going to say Julio's hit that was challenged, I thought might be a double down the line. It was a great play. I think Clement was at third, but they ended up scoring those 2 runs anyway. So I was going to say that cost the Mariners a run, but it really didn't because they ended up scoring. I thought early on, the first 4 innings, I thought they had some good at-bats against Gausman. As the game went on, they did get some base runners. They had some walks, as always, but just couldn't capitalize. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's like what I've talked about a lot in these post-game recaps. Getting guys on base, but not bringing them in. There was that they couldn't get that big hit into the gap to really break the game open. They had some chances in the 8th inning. In fact, when they had the bases in the 8th, I thought Mitch Garver missed a grand slam it was more than this, but off the bat, I thought he got it. Julio had a couple fly balls that I thought he just missed. Cal Raleigh had a good game. Got on base, I think, 3 times. JP had a hit and a walk. So it wasn't like they were just dominated, but they just couldn't finish. That they were the golfer that was missing 8-foot birdie putts. You know what I mean? It wasn't that they were having to scramble to save par. They just couldn't quite, get the big hit to deliver a knockout blow. I don't think it was a terrible offensive day. I know it sounds crazy. And remember too, I'm going off of the standards this team has set for itself, right? Like if this was the best offense in baseball, I would not be happy with this performance. But it's an offense that I think is at best right now 20th, and that's probably stretching it. I thought they did some okay things. You keep putting base runners on, draw your walks, load up the bases. Eventually, you will have someone put one in the gap and break a game open. So it's almost like there's 2 steps. You got to get the base runners, then you got to bring them home. They kind of did the first part tonight. They just couldn't do the second. The last couple of weeks, they didn't do any of that. It was 1 and 2 or both thrown out. And listen, winning always is the cure-all. I say it all the time, but had they lost this game, let's say, Bichette reaches in the 9th inning on that infield hit, and let's say Vlad runs into one. I'm ripping the offense. I'm going awful. You've got to capitalize. But when you win, things are forgivable a little bit. So, and it's just the nature of it's my nature as a human being. It's how we're wired. Winning is the cure for everything, essentially, in sports. I talk about it. Your clubhouse is having beefs. What's the best thing you can do? Win some ball games. That's usually what helps. Heck, the 2013 Seahawks were punching each other before the Super Bowl practice, before the Super Bowl, and still found a way to win. So, winning is the ultimate cure-all. But I thought some okay at-bats today, at least. I didn't think it was as dreadful as maybe the 2 runs would make it out to be. But the Luke Raley double holds up. Let's go through the pitching and the box score a little bit here, and then I'm going to get out of here. We talked about the pitching, but Luis Castillo finishes 6 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 walks, 8 Ks. The home run to Kiermaier is a little frustrating. You'd like to see him not give up a home run to Kevin Kiermaier. Sorry if I'm itching here, just the allergies are hitting me. But Castillo was outstanding. Absolutely dominant. The velocity was up a tick. It might have been a hot radar gun because Gausman was up a tick as well. But man, that might have been Castillo's best start. I'm trying to think back. He was really good in Colorado, I remember, but that might be his best one. Both outstanding. Stanek and Munoz lights out. Offensively, JP 1 for 3 with a hit and 2 walks. JP on board 3 times. Good to see. Tough game from Garver. Like I said, I thought he just missed the grand slam in the last at-bat, but 0 for 5. Nice game for Cal Raleigh. 2 hits and a walk, on base 3 times as well. Julio was 1 for 4 with that infield hit, although I think that might have been a double down the line if it weren't for a great play. I thought he just got under a couple balls. and missed them. So good to see him pulling the fly balls. That is a good sign that he's starting to turn on a little bit better. So, yes, I would have loved after Julio's great game yesterday to see a couple more hits, another home run, but still some encouraging signs at least. Luke Raley was 1-for-3 with the 2-run double and then just missed another 2-run double. You can make a strong case. Raley should have been 2-for-3, and that double was 105 off the bat. It would have been a home run in 7 parks. This was the one that was robbed by Varsho and had an 860 expected batting average. Just got to tip your cap to Varsho on that. Made a tremendous play. Okay, one thing I want to criticize. I did not like the Mitch Haniger pinch hit I think it was in the 7th inning. He pinched hit for Luke Raley. Now, I want to be clear. Against the lefty, it was Cabrera, right? Cabrera was the lefty. He has been really bad against right-handed hitters this year. What was Goldsmith saying? That they hit like 500 against his fastball. So I understand. And I want to be clear with you guys. When I say I understand a move, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily defending it or saying that's what I would have done. I just want to be clear because so many times people make videos and go, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I do get it. Righties have hit Cabrera hard. The Mariners wanted to go to a right-handed bat. The problem is the right-handed bat they went to, Mitch Haniger, just hasn't hit lefties this year. He's a WRC plus of like 18 against lefties this year. He should hit lefties, but he's not. Truthfully, you'd be better off, and you had to go to Victor Robles anyways for defense. I think you'd be better off going to Robles there, or probably just letting Raley have the at-bat. Again, I get the process. I get the thought process there of what they're trying to do. But Mitch Haniger has just not been good. I love Mitch Haniger. One of my favorites. Give him a coach's jacket. I know it's not a thing, but put him on the coaching staff. But they've got to upgrade at that position. Mitch Haniger's been almost a full win below replacement level this year overall. Because here's the thing. He's not hitting. You're not getting good defense. You're not getting good base running. I mean, truthfully, Victor Robles is a better player. Do I think, if you were to tell me, Jay, over the next 162 games, whose bat is going to be better, Haniger's or Robles, I'd probably slightly lean Mitch Haniger, but that doesn't make up for Robles being a good defender and a good base runner. You're going to get more value out of that. So I didn't like that decision there at all. I understand it, but I'm probably letting Raley have that at bat. He's been okay against lefties, been better against lefties than Mitch Haniger has. I know historically Haniger's been really good against left-handed pitching, but we're now 90 games into the season, and it just hasn't happened. I don't want Mitch Haniger to be DFA'd. I think he matters in the clubhouse. I think he's a good guy to have for these young kids. But, man, if you can make up some injury and just IL him and let him essentially be a member of the coaching staff, kind of like Christopher Negron, you know what I mean? Something like that, I would absolutely be all for it. That's a spot where the Mariners need a better bat. Because truthfully, like I said, against Cabrera, who's dominated lefties and been really rough against righties, you probably do want a strong righty bat there. An article, I think it was on MLB.com, came out today, and they mentioned Andrew Vaughn as a possibility for the Mariners, the White Sox outfielder. He hasn't been amazing. There's certainly better out there. And I know that's not a name that's going to make you move the needle, but that would have been a spot where you probably would go to an Andrew Vaughn against the lefty there. And maybe Vaughn hits a double and you open that game up and you win it, and you don't use Munoz or Stanek and you win it 5-1 or something. So sometimes there is little moves you can make that do make a big impact on the team. So nothing I'm going to harp on. I do understand it, but yeah, Mitch Haniger just shouldn't really be pinch hitting for anybody. He had some good at-bats yesterday, worked a couple walks. I don't want to make this a Mitch Haniger hate video. Ty France 1-for-4 had the base hit. Canzone 0-for-4. His OPS goes down to 678. Dylan Moore, nice game, 1-for-3 with a walk. And then Josh Rojas, 1-for-3 with a walk as well. So 8 hits, 5 walks, 13 base runners. Again, probably should have more than 2 runs. Strikeouts still a problem. They strike out 13 more times today. Goldsmith and Blowers are talking about in the broadcast about yesterday when they had 11 strikeouts and put up 7 runs. And that was kind of the point Goldie made. Like, you can stomach the strikeouts when you're barreling the ball up. Your hard hit rate is good and all that stuff. And that's kind of been what I've advocated for. Strikeouts are not the worst thing in the world. I think you can overcome being a heavy strikeout team. Now, the problem for the Mariners is they're not just a heavy strikeout team. They are a heavy strikeout team, the worst in baseball. So let's say they're 30th in strikeout rate, which they are. I'm just saying, I don't know how you want to rank that, first or 30th, but we'll call them dead last. If they were 21st, I think it'd be okay. Like, I could live with that. I expected this team to strike out. I just didn't think they'd be like historically bad at striking out. And that's what like me and Mariner Sir have talked about on our show, is that that's when it becomes a problem, when it's not just, oh, the Mariners strike out a lot. It's holy cow, this team is like historically bad at striking out. And Goldsmith and Blauer are also talking about that their barrel rate, hard hit rate is all, as a team pretty good. It's just they're not doing it enough. We've seen the Mariners be selective, which is fine. I don't mind hitters being selective because listen, we've seen them drive up starting pitchers' pitch counts and get to bullpens. And Toronto's a perfect example. Gosman's not having a great year, but you still respect him as a good starting pitcher. You get Gosman out of game, you get into a bullpen that's hurt and just hasn't been very good. There's no Jordan Romano. Swanson's in Tacoma, not Tacoma, Buffalo, and Yimi Garcia. Or is it Jimmy? Yimi? I don't know. But he's hurt as well. So it's a banged up bullpen. So there's nothing wrong with being selective. But I do think one thing is we've seen the Mariners just let a lot of hittable pitches go by. And I get it, right? You don't want to swing and pop it up, and then all of a sudden you got a starting pitcher that's thrown 11 pitches in 2 innings. But I think they need to be more aggressive. And I think they're letting too many middle pitches go by. Listen, I don't think there's some easy, quick fix for this. If I'm saying it, then the team is 10 steps ahead. They're seeing it too. So it's not like I'm breaking news here or anything like that. And there is no easy fix to it. I know people are like, oh, they need to play more small ball. They need to do this, they need to do that. Listen, this team's just not built for that. They're not. It's the same thing when people are like, oh, Russell Wilson needs to get rid of the ball quicker. Guys, it's not going to change. That's who he was. He's not going to get rid of the ball quicker. This team is going to strike out. They're going to be selective. They're going to take some walks and have innings like in the 8th inning with 2 outs, and they end up loading up the bases with walks. The hope is that eventually just capitalize on that. Mitch Garver just missed the grand slam. Maybe next time you do get it, and that's the upside to being selective the way they are. So listen, overall, not their worst offensive performance, certainly better than some of what we've seen the last few weeks. Interesting tomorrow, obviously not shocked. Emerson Hancock will get the start for the Mariners. They're going to have to do that because they've been going with a 4-man rotation. They've had days off to do it. Well, not this time. Now they've had to go through a full turn of the rotation without a day off. So they have to go to Hancock tomorrow. The roster move will be interesting. Jorge Polanco, again, second straight day doesn't play. I think Bliss ends up getting sent down. For a couple reasons. One, I know Bliss hasn't played a lot, and you shouldn't judge it just on yesterday, but I think yesterday was almost a bit of an audition for Ryan Bliss to get something done, and struggled yesterday. And here's the thing. It's the easier move to make. I say it all the time, and I know some people don't like hearing it, but teams don't like to release or DFA guys unless they really have to, or it just got to the point that it's so bad. If you're the Mariners, we're sitting in the front office, me and you, we're GM and VP or whatever you want to call it. We traded valuable assets potentially for Jorge Polanco. Ryan Bliss, we can just option to Tacoma. What do we do? And I know some of you go, no, get rid of Polanco. He's been terrible. I'm done. And I get it. I absolutely get it. But if we're sitting there talking, I'm still going to, it's not like Bliss has been so amazing where you have to keep him up either. I'm still probably optioning Bliss and seeing for at least until the deadline, can I get something out of Jorge Polanco? Can he give me something? And honestly, I don't think Bliss is necessarily going to be the answer at second base either. Truthfully, the best bet for this team right now is the guy that played tonight, Dylan Moore. I don't like it because what I love about Demo is the versatility, but Dylan Moore's 725 OPS, which truthfully is like second best on the Mariners. He leads the Mariners extra base hits. Dylan Moore leads this team in extra base hits. He's been an above average hitter by WRC plus. He's good on the base pass. He's a good defender. Yeah, there's swing and miss in his game. Gee, he's a Seattle Mariner. Of course there's swing and miss in his game. Dylan Moore is your best option. It is. Now, it hurts you in other aspects because he can't play the outfield instead of Mitch Haniger against lefties and stuff like that. So it does. You'd like to have Demo more available to play everywhere. But Dylan Moore is your best option right now. We can debate about Bliss Polanco all we want. If you truly like what's the best play at second base to win baseball games right now in Seattle Mariners, it's Dylan Moore, to be perfectly honest. So we'll see what they end up doing. But listen, and I'll be just going back a little bit. If they DFA Polanco, I'm fine. I get it. I'm not – the points I try to make, it's just like with the Haniger pinch hit. It's not me saying, oh, I agree with it. It's just me saying I understand. And I always will try to do that for you guys, is present both sides of it. This is why I think they're doing it. Would I have pinch hit Mitch Haniger? No. But I think there is valid reasons. It's not just that they're stupid and that they don't know what they're doing. They're looking at it going, they're looking at these numbers and this, whatever. Again, don't agree with it, but it is important to understand why these things may be happening. So that's all. Great win for the Mariners. They needed it. Listen, it's go time this season, right? The Astros win today 13-12. That was a crazy game with Houston, Minnesota. No pictures on scorecards right now. Just get W's. Mariners get a big one today. They've won 2 in a row. That's a winning streak. Let's see if they can keep it going tomorrow. Emerson Hancock at home. I don't expect Toronto to be held to 1 run all series. Too many good bats in that lineup, even with some underperformance. However, I thought the Mariners had some better at-bats today, and I expect them to have some better offensive production tomorrow as well. Not sure what time the recap will be up tomorrow, but as always, I will have it. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the W. Go Mariners. Peace. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Go Mariners. Peace.